Good evening, Burbs. Tonight is going to be a short video, so I'm just going to take a quick look at Bitcoin on the daily and the 4-hour, and if I have the time, I will also take a look at a couple of altcoin ideas for you guys. So let's take a look at Bitcoin. So this level right here is acting as resistance, the 8,821 to be exact. And this level is very interesting because if you guys remember, in October we had this massive pump for about 40%, right? And this was actually the China pump. And if you use the Fibonacci tool, and let me show you, if you use the low of this pump here to the high of the pump, you will notice that the 50% Fibonacci, the 50% retracement level, the 0.5 Fibonacci level, is exactly the same as this resistance area right here. So we got some very interesting confluence in that area. So I'm expecting this to be heavy resistance, but if we actually break above, I'm expecting a move towards this area right here, this resistance here, and the midpoint of this resistance area is confluent with this fib level right here. And another very interesting thing about this this pump right here, the RLC is actually in this area down here. Let me show you. So the RLC is the zone between the 0.618 and the 0.786 Fibonacci levels. And if I select that area, you will notice that the RLC comes in and captures this consolidation area right here. We were ranging here before the massive China pump. So I expect price to, this should be resistance, right? So if we retrace from this area, and if you are looking to get long on this move, I wouldn't really recommend longing here because that's basically longing resistance. I would wait for a retrace and layer some bids in this area. The middle of the RLC is about 8.2k. So 8.2k should be a pretty good area to enter on a retest if you think this is going higher. So another very interesting thing I want to show you guys is the relationship between the yellow 21 exponential and the green 55 exponential. So as you can see here, the yellow 21 exponential has just crossed the 55 to the upside, and last time we got that bullish cross was back down here in March of last year, and as you guys remember, that was pretty much the low before our massive bull run up to 14k. So from the bull cross to the bear cross we had 175% move, so that's pretty massive. So adding to that, if you look at the weekly, you will see that we bounced off the weekly 21 exponential and tapped the midpoint of the RLC measured from this low to this high. So overall, I think price action is looking very bullish here, and I would not be surprised if this was the actual bottom before our next massive bull run. It kind of makes sense, right? But I'm not going to trade my feelings or my emotions or what I think is going to happen. I'm going to trade what TA tells me. And right now the TA tells me that this level right here, the 50% retracement of the China pump, is resistance until proven otherwise. And if we retrace down here, I anticipate this is going to act as support. And given all the other bullish things I'm seeing in the chart, the tap of the RLC, the break in market structure on the 4-hour and the daily, You know, considering all that stuff, I think going long here is probably a good thing to do, but you have to consider that we are in a weekly downtrend. So longing in a high time frame downtrend is always a little bit risky, but you know, considering all the other bullish factors, I think it might be actually worth to take a long here. And on the other hand, if we actually start closing above this resistance here, I would also long a retest up to this area right here. And if we start closing above this area here, the 9.6k area, in my opinion, that's where the magic is going to happen, right? Like, if we get above this area, I think we are going much higher. Because if we actually do trade above here and we start closing weeklies above here, that's gonna give us a higher high on the weekly. So closing above here means we're no longer in a weekly downtrend, and when Bitcoin is in a weekly uptrend, well, yeah, obviously that means very bullish, and we usually trend upwards for a long period of time. So yeah, that's the levels to be watching on Bitcoin. So I'm gonna look for, to sum it up, I'm gonna look for a retrace down here, and if we trade above this area, I'm probably gonna long a retest up to this resistance, and this is probably gonna be a very strong resistance. So I'm gonna take most of my profits up here, and if we start trading above this area, I'm gonna increase my exposure to Bitcoin. Another thing I want to show you guys is the relationship between Zcash, Dash, and Monero. And as most of you probably already know, all these three coins are all privacy coins, right? And in crypto we have something called echo pumps, right? And basically what that is the China pump was a very good example of that. When China came out with the positive news about Bitcoin and crypto, people started buying coins associated with China, right? So we saw coin after coin associated with China just pumping, and that's an echo pump, right? And what we're seeing right now, I think, might be one of those echo pumps too. So we're seeing Dash pump like crazy, and Zcash is pumping. And if you look at the chart, they're pretty similar, right? So you have this area here, resistance, confluent with the yellow 21 exponential on the weekly. When we broke above this area, we had this massive pump for about 100%. So that's a 2x in 2 days. So not bad. And if you look at Zcash, you will notice something similar. You have this resistance here. You also have a weekly W, and as you all know, I really like my weekly W's, but whatever. So you have this resistance right here, confluent with the yellow 21 exponential on the weekly, and as soon as we broke above, we had this massive move. And if you look at Monero, let's pull up Monero. So Monero is right now at resistance. It's also showing a weekly W, resistance confluent with the neckline of the weekly W, and also confluent with the yellow 21 exponential. And yeah, so all three of these coins have similar TA. Zcash has pumped, Dash has pumped, but Monero hasn't pumped yet, but it's really looking like it wants to pump, right? So this is absolutely a coin to watch. And if I were to trade this, I would probably wait for maybe a 4-hour open and close above this area, then longing the resistance with a stop somewhere in below here. This is probably a good level to place your stop, because it's right below the white 200 simple on the 4-hour, which is keeping price up pretty good here. You can see price bouncing off it, so that's probably a good area to place your stop. And I would probably take profits. First profit I would probably take up in this area for a nice 13-15% move. But the thing is, like, Dash pumped 100%, and if you look at Monero, there's not really much resistance above until I would anticipate the green 55 acting as resistance somewhere in this area right here, and you know, that's a good 40%. So a lot of potential upside for Monero and a very decent area for a stop loss. So the risk to reward ratio is pretty good on this one, and with the weekly W, sorry, and with the fact that Zcash and Dash has already pumped, I think this is looking pretty good. So definitely a coin to watch in the next coming days. Alright guys, so I think that's it. A quick overview of Bitcoin's current price action and a quick explanation of what I think will be the next echo pump. So if you guys find any other privacy coins that look like Monero, or that looks like it wants to break out but it haven't break out already, feel free to post it in the Nest Club chat, and I will take a look at it and maybe add it to the list of potential echo pumps. So this is definitely a theme I'm going to look at closer. So if you have, for example, if you have Binance coin pumping, I'm going to be looking at other exchange tokens that haven't pumped yet. So echo pumps is sometimes a very profitable way to trade. So yeah, take care guys, and see you next time.